Salutations, respected viewers. This is George from Ireland. This video is about how the notion of cultural appropriation is nonsense. So, what is cultural appropriation? Well, that is copying an element of another culture in a way that is disrespectful. So it's very difficult to define where one culture ends and another begins. Cultures, what would the word be, cross-fertilize. They transmit memes, they receive memes, things like that. One can't draw a boundary very clearly. What happened to the melting pot? That it's pick and mix, and we all learn from each other. Cultural interactions are usually educative on both sides. So, okay, let's take Irish culture. Well, we know some elements of that, but it's got so much in common with Scottish culture. Even Irish Republicans say that, but doesn't it have a bit in common with English culture? Well, Irish Republicans wouldn't want to face up to that. Average nationalists might acknowledge this. English and Scots have a bit in common with each other. How about British? Does that include all of them? Okay, some Irish people would say no. But Irish culture is also located within European culture, which is located within Western culture. So it's very difficult to distinguish what's uniquely Irish, what's common to the whole West. So look at opera. Originally Italian. Well, it's an Italian word for work. So is it only Italian? Is it European more generally? Some European countries have never produced an opera, I don't think. They're Kazakh operas. So is that cultural appropriation by the Kazakhs? Are they not allowed that? Perhaps nobody else should ever make an opera apart from Italians, since it was theirs originally. This is ridiculous. This is trying to bring about some sort of cultural apartheid. And many people fall into more than one category through their ethnicity, or being a citizen of one country but their ethnicity relates to another, things like that. Let's look at the English language. So it's a mixture of Anglo-Saxon, Norman French, Old Norse. It's adopted words from all over the world. It's notable for having more loan words than most languages. So English, in a sense, came from French, which came from Italian, which came from Latin, which to some extent came from Greek, which came from goodness knows where. So obviously language is a part of culture. But is it wrong for anyone who's not English to speak English? I'm not English, incidentally. Take basketball. It was invented by a white Canadian. Does that mean African Americans must be prohibited from playing? This is the height of absurdity. Or look at Western clothes. And again, it's difficult to define what the West is. It's vague, though comprehensible as a concept. Western clothes are worn the world over. In China, people don't wear Chinese traditional dress, or, in Arab countries, people don't always wear their folk dress. Is it wrong of them to wear Western clothes? It'd be ridiculous to say that people aren't allowed to somehow. Okay, take leprechauns. They're talked about in the United States much more than in Ireland, but all right, they are part of our mythology. They've been around for 400 years. Is it wrong for people to dress up in them? Well, I think it's twee, but I don't think it's wrong. So yeah, they can dress up like that. People can dress up like whatever, and some people may take offence, but it's your problem for taking offence, not others for giving offence. And sometimes it might be cringe-making people's idea of what another country's culture is, but we shouldn't stop them or particularly ban them at university. This is about being a snowflake. Some people are hypersensitive, and I know this is mostly a far left, shibboleth, and of course the right wingers are too touchy as well. So to hell with them too. Look at the Irish parades in the United States. So on Patrick's Day, they're almost entirely dressed in Scottish clothing. Those are Scots kilts with different tartans. In Ireland, we've got just orange and green ones, no family tartans. And kilts, although they are Irish, they're very rare in Ireland. The sporrans, as a bag on a kilt, that's Scots, it's not Irish. The hats they're wearing, those are Scots hats, because to my mind, they look much more impressive and aesthetically pleasing than Irish ones. The bagpipes with the pipes going up, those are Scottish ones. They're not Irish, so it's completely getting it wrong. But all right, Scotland and Ireland have got a great deal in common, so perhaps that splitting hairs doesn't bother me. But it shows how cultural appropriation goes on all the time. We learn from each other. We're all human. And what about uniting mankind? What about diversity? So that's allowing different cultures to coexist, to mingle, and therefore that strikes at the heart of the very notion of diversity, to say we mustn't have cultural appropriation. We must borrow from each other's culture. We must lend to each other's cultures. So down with this cultural appropriation. fallacy.